Welcome to the 6th episode of the PRCoach. Now, the last episode so far has been watched by more than 250 people. Thanks to you for watching, and thank you, by the way, for sharing with other people. That's why we got to those numbers. That is the point of this platform. Please watch and share, but most importantly, subscribe. We could use your patronage. Now, today I wanted to focus on a communication tool that gets wasted by many in the private sector and in the public sector. Whenever we are in trouble, whenever we're going through a bad time, what we normally do is that we focus on ourselves. We look at ourselves as victims. We look at other people as culprits for what we are going through. The introspection, or at least the evaluation of the circumstances, is always about us inward looking and feeling sorry for ourselves. And we've seen that with COVID. People are feeling sorry that they've lost jobs. People are feeling sorry that their companies have closed, that business has shrunk, that government has not given them subsidies, this, that, or the other. It is normal. But a tool that is missed by most organizations during this time, that needs to be used when there is a crisis, when there is bad times, is called empathy. Empathy. You have to stop thinking that you are the only one who's going through something. In fact, you have to actually look at how many people are worse than where you are. Now, what brought this to mind? Certainly, it was the recent campaign by SA Breweries called #AlcoholBan. I thought it was a very unfortunate campaign. The campaign focused on going in public with influencers telling us about the impact and the effects of the alcohol ban due to COVID. And it went out to remind us that 82 million rand or something to that effect has been lost in tax revenue for government, which money they say in the campaign would have been used for the vaccines. They remind us about how many jobs get impacted by the alcohol ban. They remind us about the livelihoods that get impacted, and. All that is not untrue, by the way. But it's self-serving, unfortunately, and it does not look good from a public relations point of view. So many other people are impacted by this. I know of small businesses, far too small compared to SA Breweries, that will never come back to business. My own business, I am in business, has been severely affected. I have barely traded since March last year. But you know what? I still regard myself as luckier as opposed to somebody who lives, say, in Cape Town, who has to wake up at 4 o'clock to get into a taxi of 16 people. They live in a house with 10 people. There's no social distancing. They don't earn enough to buy sanitizers that I can afford from time to time. I look at them and I think, yes, I'm worried. My revenues have dropped very badly. But I am not in a bad situation as they are, or as bad a situation as they are. I am empathetic towards those people. But worse, to use things like tax as a strategy to say we could have contributed to COVID. Well, I'll tell you this, all of us who've lost revenue would have been taxed and would have contributed to COVID. All of us who buy less bread, that includes my mother, are not contributing to VAT, which means that we're not contributing to the tax base, which means we're not contributing to COVID vaccine. So using that, I think, was not a good thing for SA Breweries to do. That was too selfish. And for me, by the way, to play victim does not help. Even worse, play a blame game makes you look like you don't care. Fact is, all South Africans, and indeed all people all over the world, are impacted by COVID-19. The campaign, in my view, which I think that there's a need for it, could have been done differently. Of course, I'm not going to say how here, it's not my business. They can always call me if they want me to tell them how I think they could have done things differently. But I think that this was a time for anyone, especially anyone that big, could have done a campaign that shows empathy. Here's the truth. Public relations is all about perceptions. And the perception has been created out there that alcohol is a major contributor to the chaos that we're facing. I disagree with the fact that because of alcohol, the numbers of COVID infections go up. But I am not going to disagree with the reports like the one that came out from the Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital on the 1st of January, showing us pictures that in their history, it was the first time that the trauma unit was empty on the 1st of January. I am not about to disagree with that, however much I may believe is an exaggeration. From a PR point of view, you don't want to be laughing at that or scoffing at that or dismissing something like that. Because when the trauma unit does not have human beings in it, it means people have been safe out there. It means somebody got home when they could have died or could have been in an accident. It means children can see their parents who could have been in an accident or in a fight somewhere. But more so, it means those doctors and frontline workers, medical workers, who are completely wasted by now fighting COVID, can focus one more time on fighting COVID without having to deal with a guy who got stabbed because they were at a shebeen and they got to get into a fight. Now, I'm sure fights happen everywhere. They don't only happen in shebeens or taverns or bars or where we drink. But the fact of the matter is, people misbehave when they've had alcohol. And that has been shown 1,000,000 times. Fact is, where there is alcohol, there is also a chance of super spreaders. We know that. It does not make alcohol a bad thing. I'm the first to tell you that I love my tipple. And I still have it in the privacy of my own home. But I am not going to dismiss the fact that there are those people who, when they have had it, we end up with chaos. Young girls end up being raped. Women get abused, kicked out of their own homes. Friends get stabbed. People get shot. Cars overturn. Accidents happen. So to come up with a campaign that almost ignores all of this and is not empathetic to those that get impacted badly by alcohol was a failed opportunity, or rather a lost opportunity. It should have been done better. I believe that SA Breweries is a smarter organization and should not have gone into this reactive mode. It does not help them. It helps nobody. And in fact, in the process, they lose out on the empathy, especially for their own workers, that they rightfully deserve because people have been impacted. And by the way, this is coming from a man whose education was funded by SA Breweries, not directly at least. But for the better part of my schooling, my father worked for SA Breweries as a truck driver. I know what would have happened to me had this happened those 30 years ago when I was going to school, slightly more, So I got to go to school because he got to work there and he got to get paid. So I do understand the impact on people directly. I know it. But there is no room in the space of winning hearts and minds, which is what PR is about, to go out on a campaign that plays victim, that calls other people culprits, and almost calling them stupid because they have lost out on revenue by banning alcohol. No. In Sesotho, they have a saying that goes, Halefeti kgomo le je motho. It means we don't give to the grave a human being when we could sacrifice an animal. Human beings come first. And we always have to show empathy where human beings are involved, however much money we lose in the process. All of us have lost money. We can do it better. So, please subscribe to the platform. You can see the subscription button right there. If you have questions and queries, and indeed, if you want to inquire about the services that we offer as the PR coach, please write to pr@kingmaker.co.za. Can share with you the experience of the work we've done for many organizations over the last 30 years. You can also go to the website www.ramsmabote.com and you'll see the work that has been done over the years. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for sharing. Until next time, cheers.